We will start with in-person media first.
Hey, Eric, obviously a frustrating end. Just curious, what was the message to the team that you just had just now?
Yeah, I told them I was appreciative of the effort. I mean, I thought it was a playoff intensity game where we gave, maybe just leave it open. Yeah, all right. I thought it was a playoff intensity game. I thought we gave great effort for, yeah, that is loud as can be. You want to just hold it for a minute? That's okay. Yeah. I thought we gave great effort defensively, especially we were flexible with mixing the lineups, playing small a little bit. But I just told them I was appreciative of the effort, and it's an opportunity for everybody to grow. Sometimes and then like this makes you reality kind of hits you in the face, and we know we have to get better. You have to say on the balance of the season, and probably tonight that Minnesota's better. They got 22 wins and we've got 12. And so we know we have to improve. Coaches, players, everything, that we can be better going into next year.
Can you take us through that third quarter a little bit? You guys fought so hard at the end of the second to tie things back, and then just seemed like a little bit of a defensive lull there in the third quarter.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at some of the stats and see what hurt us the most. But I thought they came out with an intensity on the offensive boards. Sill and put their stamp on the game that way, and we should know better in that case. Like, we should know better with Minnesota. It was said by players and staff at halftime that we knew what to expect coming out, and they got away with getting a jump on us in that third quarter. And then kind of after that initial run, I thought we played well, but we had a hole once again to dig out of.
Just curious what you thought about some of the officiating. Seemed like they let y'all play.
I don't think I got enough credit in the bank or money in the bank to talk about the officiating. Obviously I got a technical. I just thought both teams were playing a hard-nosed physical game. I thought we rose to the challenge, and I thought that at that point in the game, both teams weren't being judged the same way. We had back-to-back plays when I got my technical, or no call at one end and a foul at the other. But yeah, that's all I want to say. I mean, I thought both teams were allowed to be physical. It felt like a playoff game, and you look down and they shot 9 more free throws, and we lose by 6, and there's an 8 free throw difference. Whether those calls were correct or not, fouling's been an issue for us. So it could be that.
Just one last one for me, I'll pass on. Just ton of adversity all season long between not having all your bodies and ending these last two, not even having Mike here. When you look back on the season as a totality, what will stand out to you? Does it seem like there were some missed opportunities?
Both. I think there were definitely missed opportunities. We can probably circle the games on the calendar that were the most missed opportunities. We had leads. I don't know what the final number was. We had at one point in the season leads at halftime and well over half of our games. So, but you need certain level of talent to close games like that when it gets tight, especially when you're playing good teams. And obviously we had a lot of talent taken out of our team through circumstance and bad luck and injuries and all the rest. So, we can sure be better, probably in terms of everyday preparation and focus, and working to develop skill wise. But yeah, we obviously you don't go 12-20 and say, yeah, like our talent level is where we need it to be. We have people coming back like Alicia and Elena that immediately increase that, but we got work cut out for us there as front office as well.
Eric, you mentioned the playoff atmosphere and both teams laying it on the line. There's a little bit chippy between both sides. The individual matchups are very intense. Do you think that kind of helped you guys a little bit, or do you think it kind of threw you off the game from what you guys were expecting from this team?
To expect anything less from Minnesota would be insane. did it help? I mean, yeah, the crowd for sure helped us in a game like that. You're playing at home, it gives you an edge. But, you know, I think that's
We're having technical difficulties. Give us one moment. Eric, can you hear us?
the gist of the question again. Sustaining it.
Yeah, just how frustrating that you were able to see what your team can be tonight in the certain moments, but just even in this game, you couldn't sustain it and kind of emblematic the whole season.
Yep, I think you said it. You kind of are at the end of the year what your record says you are. We're 12-20. It's the mark of a great team, great player individually, and a great team is that you're able to come bring it every night. And starts with focus and intensity and effort, but also, you know, you got to come make shots more often than not, and you got to make good plays offensively and follow a game plan defensively. You got to do that, you know, as if you want to be a great team, and we have people on our team who know what that's like to be good every night and bring it every night.
Eric, where are the areas you think you have more clarity going into the offseason? I know it's a big offseason for you as it is. Where do you think you got more clarity heading into the offseason?
I mean, I think offensively, I don't know what the final numbers are, but you know, it's been a struggle for us to get to 80 points now for a while. So we have to get better offensively. Got to space it better. Got to read the game better. Got to shoot it better. Got to get to the rim more and the foul line more. I mean, it's a lot of pretty big picture things, but and then, you know, defensively, I think you saw for stretches tonight how good we can be. And then there's times where we're not in sync like that, and we're not taking care of the paint, protecting the rim, and we're putting people at the free throw line. So obviously, when you're, you know, where we are in the standings, it's both sides of the ball. We got to get better. The people we have, you got to get better, and we probably got to find a little bit better playmaking, better spacing, better shooting, and people that can defend. Two-way players, basically.
How would you evaluate the job you've done the last 2 games? Stepping up.
I wasn't gonna try to get a technical. I don't know. When you're 0-2, you can't like think you did a great job. But I mean, I thought I stayed in the moment with the players. I thought I stayed focused, and I thought they, you know, they did everything I could have asked tonight, especially in terms of how hard they played. I don't know. There's plays I'm sure I'll watch the film back and go like, I wish I'd have done something else. But you're in it, man. You're in it, and you're in the moment.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
Yeah, just kind of speak to the resilience of the team throughout the season, you know, given everything you guys battled through, and then just kind of talk about how, as a coaching staff, at times you probably had to balance, you know, the reality of it is, you know, and it's an uphill climb, balancing that with, you know, still holding people accountable, and, you know, making sure everybody's bringing their best every day.
Yeah, I mean, we got some big wins in tough spots. I think before the break, we had won like 4 games with 8 players or fewer. I don't know what that number ended up being, but we had a lot of games missed. I thought we showed good resiliency the last couple of weeks when you know, we got our butts handed to us in Seattle.
We can hear, Eric, can you hear us? Eric, can you hear us?
Yes,
Perfect. Sorry. Is there any other in-person questions or can we go to Zoom?
I think we're good in person.
Okay, we'll start with Jen.
Hey, Eric. Just a quick question about the game. And as far as substitution patterns go, notice that Sid and Teresa played about a minute combined. Are there injuries there, or was it just matchups?
No, I mean, I think we've had this, these last couple of games, we've had 11 players. It's hard to play everybody. It felt like more like a playoff rotation, keeping it tight. That's just kind of the way it is. That's probably the hardest thing stepping into this position is just figuring out who you're going to play in the rotation. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to play that many, especially when you're playing your starters big minutes.
And then wanted to ask about Tosh and Ariel. 39 of your 77 points came from them. And obviously we've seen big games from them before, but did it feel to you like they were maybe taking it up another level or just trying to will you guys to the playoffs?
Oh, for sure. I mean, those guys know what it is to be at this point in the season and play like that. Tosh and Ariel been in big games. I think the next challenge for both of them is seeing the whole picture. And Tosh as a point guard's obviously developed in a big way in that regard. She made him pay tonight scoring the ball. She's been really good sharing the ball, obviously her whole career with, and has had big assist games this year. But I think just full control of the game. How are we being played? Are they switching? Are they going under? Are they hedging? Can I make them pay no matter which way we're played? And I think, they're both capable. They both have great years in front of them. And it's can you be in total command of your craft? And I think that's going to be where we, start with them going forward.
Thanks, Eric. And thanks for your time all season.
No problem. Thank you.
Last question to Rafiq.
Yeah, although the team did fail to make the playoffs, how proud of you with the team's effort to actually work their way towards being in contention for the postseason up until the very last day of the season?
We left it out there tonight. I thought we took a couple punches from them, one in the first quarter and one in the third quarter, and came back and played hard. Playing hard should be a given. It should be a given. We should always play hard and hang our hat on that, and then we have to just perform better on both sides of the ball.
And this is the first full season that you had Tina Charles after the team acquired her during the 2020 offseason. Natasha Cloud got to put in some work for the first time in a couple of years. Like, how proud of you with the efforts that they put into this team right in front of the fans?
What did you say about Tosh? Did you say something about an award? What did you talk about Tosh?
Said, how proud of you of the effort that Tina Charles put in during her first season with the Washington Mystery Squad and Natasha Cloud's first season in 2 years?
Oh yeah. I mean, Tina carried us through some rough patches where the lineup was changing around her every night. That's tough. That's tough to get a rhythm, especially when you're getting double teamed. And you literally don't know necessarily who's on, it's one thing to make sure, yeah, I got my shooter on the backside and I got, like, you don't even know who's in the game sometimes. It's changing every night. So, she sustained that level throughout the year. She saw more double teams. She saw, like, even tonight, so much attention from Minnesota, trying to deny her and come with backside help. And, she took 13 rebounds. And so, yep, she was who she was and delivered, almost every night. And Tosh, I think she'd admit at the start of the year, like, it just took a little while to get her rhythm back. You don't play. She played a handful of games overseas, and it was, playing at this level and having the ball in your hands that much is a lot to put on her. And I thought she got better as the year went on, and had a game like she did tonight to close it out. Kind of tells that story of where she's, how she's finished the back end of the year offensively, especially. Defensively, we know she's good every night and should be on an all defensive team, first team in my book.
Appreciate your insight and have a good offseason.
Thank you.
That's it, Eric. Thank you.
Is that it?
In person. So. Okay.
Tina, I see you have
your ice packs on your knees and ankles. Game seemed really physical. How did the physicality affect the game in your mind?
I mean, that's how it always is, night in and night out. I mean, I've been icing my body since I was at UConn. This what you're seeing here is nothing new. But yeah.
Hey, Dina, obviously long taxing season on
Mhm.
the whole team, on you, a lot of things put on people's shoulders overall. Just kind of in retrospect, what's your summation of the season?
Um, Keep it positive. I'm very thankful that people came and showed up. I'm not gonna express how I really feel. It's just not the place. But yeah.
In the second quarter, there was offensive rebound that you gathered, and then it seemed to start. And you were kind of wincing, walking around, and then it was right before you hit the three.
Mhm.
Everything okay there, or just something?
Yeah. It just came down wrong. I just felt like I went too far back and that my muscles probably not used to. But yeah, the game's on the line. You stay in the game.
And the intensity tonight, what was that like for you to be able to see? I mean, there were long spurts of that we hadn't necessarily seen it for such an extended period of time throughout the season. What was that kind of like up there before?
It was great. It was good to see Natasha Cloud just, having that will to win. It was good to see that, that's the personality that you need every night when you play. That's how you have to come into your practices. That's the habits that you have to develop. You can't turn it off and on. You don't want to be a front running team. Minnesota, their team, they come down, they get into their sets, their defense, just everything that they do. Cheryl Reeves, and I'm not taking anything away from this organization at all, but when you're going against a team like that, a franchise like that has that history, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. And that's why you got to set in a foundation from the beginning of the season when you do get in these situations against these types of teams that you have something to fall back on. You don't want to be lucky. So, yeah.
Hey, Tina. I know, so much adversity throughout the entire season. I know you don't want to focus on that stuff, but not focusing on that. But I'm just curious, did the team ever feel settled considering one day you get somebody back and you guys ever feel that you kind of got into any kind of groove, or was it just kind of fighting night by night just to find some kind of consistency?
Yeah, like how I opened up, I'm very thankful that players, continue to come out and play hard. I think, having a mix of age group, the young guys, they definitely, they didn't feel sorry for themselves. There was always great energy in the locker room. It was always very light in air and everything, something that I'm not used to. I'm very serious. I'm very about business, but it was good to have just during the midst of what you mentioned, the adversity. So again, I'm just thankful that these guys showed up. So.
How do you feel about yourself individually? Still led the league in scoring. I know that's not something that you care about, but still a pretty impressive individual effort by yourself this season.
Yeah, I think I do what I always strive to do each and every single year. It's just to get better. It's just, like I said to one reporter before, it's the players like your John Quill Jones, your Stewie, your Nafisa, these talented players where I know I have to stay on top of my game in order for me to still be relevant and respected. So I don't take that lightly. I'm very thankful for the talent and the skill level that has developed within the league. And, I'm always going to be in the gym and working on my game, but I like to think that every year I do get better. I like to think that every year I come in and add something to my game, and I take pride in that. So.
Can you share at all some of what the conversation amongst the team was after?
It was very quiet. It was very quiet. I can't really say there's much conversation. It was very quiet, like you would expect on a loss when the end of the season.
I think that's all for me.
We'll go to Zoom now. We'll start with Jen.
Hey, Tina, just curious to get your thoughts on the team's defensive performance, particularly, compared to the other night. I know you all weren't happy with how it was in New York, and curious, how you felt like you were able to turn it around if that was the case.
Like I mentioned earlier, you can't really turn it on and off. It's something that should have been there from the first game. You can't expect because you're going into a game situation where you need this win that it's gonna last. It's good that we show forth, players that return here next year. Hopefully they can carry that forward for the next season. If there's any good things to take away from this game is, like he mentioned, there was spurts where it was high intense, it felt like a playoff game, which it was to us. But yeah, that's something that what the approach has to be from day one.
And then you mentioned Tosh, and just wanted to ask you about Ariel as well. 17 points, 4 assists, and probably got hit in the face about 7 times. What did you see from her today? And what have you enjoyed about playing with her this season?
When you're saying her, you mean Tosh or?
Sorry, Ariel.
Just how wide-eyed she is. She just wants to get better. She just loves to get better. She's always in the gym. She's the utmost professional that I've seen at that age of her, just her approach. She really leans on Alicia Clark a lot because she just wants to get better defensively, and she's going to keep growing and developing, and soon to be the other face of this franchise, which is great for DC and just for the fan base of just the character of a woman that she is. So it's really great to see young players coming to their own.
Thanks, Tina, and thanks for your time all season.
Thank you.
Viva.
I'm a WNBA kid reporter working on a history project about the WNBA. So I have a different type of question to ask you than the other reporters. Reflecting on the past season, besides being on the court and playing the game of basketball, what else do you feel you have personally gained from being a part of the WNBA?
I like to have a good time. I'm a big foodie. I like to go to different restaurants. I like to explore. I love going to museums. That's something I've been able to do in DC and venture out and just get to know the city more.
Thank you, and great season.
Thank you.
We have one last in-person question. This will be the last question.
Hey, Tina. You spoke a little bit about your teammates, but I'm curious, with this being your first full season on the court with them, how would you say your relationship and chemistry grew with them over the season?
It could definitely get better. Like it was said, you have different players coming into the rotation. Just due to COVID, you're not really able to have that many outings that normally in the past that I would have, and with previous teams that I've been on, because you have to be careful. But it could definitely always get better. Yeah.
That's it, Tina. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate your
Thank
time.
you, guys.
Always.
Hey, Josh, obviously a rough way to go out. Kind of what are your thoughts on just the season as a whole and the way that it ended?
From at a team and an organization was thrown at us this year. And I talking to you earlier, it's like one of the punches going to stop. But I am proud of our resiliency. I'm proud of our fight, but there's a lot of things that we need to get better at. And I think all of us need to go look in the mirror and self-reflect and figure out in which ways we need to be better, and whether it's skill-wise, whether it's mentality-wise, whether it's being a good teammate, whether it's consistency and poise. There's a lot of room for growth. So yes, this sucks, this hurts. You dust yourself off and you get up and you come back better next year.
In the second and fourth quarters especially, we saw a huge increase in defensive intensity from you guys. It's something that you guys are striving to get to all season, and what were maybe some of the reasons you couldn't maintain that and keep that going?
I wish I could tell you. If I could tell you, it would have been changed. I think this group, and I really love this group. Like I genuinely enjoyed being around my teammates this season, even though we went through a hell of a year. Coming in every day to work with these people was phenomenal. But I think we need to, again, really self-reflect. And I think it's a lack of focus. I think it's a lack of effort at times. We get tired, we get fatigued, and then, our IQ kind of goes out the window. But defense wins championships. I'm a defensive-minded player. And even in 2019, I would have told you, it doesn't matter how good offensively we are. It doesn't matter how many points we score. If we can't get stops down the other end, that shit doesn't matter. So I think in this offseason, we all need to self-reflect, and defensive intensity, defensive pressure, defensive IQ needs.
You guys showed a lot of heart tonight. That you mentioned how far this season has been, and everything you guys have tried to overcome, and just you still had a chance to make the playoffs, and up until the final seconds, you guys were fighting. Just what's that like, being on a team where you know your teammates, everyone's going to be able to lie it down on the line when it matters most?
Yeah, I am proud of how hard we fought today. And I'm not typically a person. I talk to the refs a lot during the games, but these last two games, it was clear that we weren't the favorite of wanting to go into the playoffs. And you can sit back, you can watch these last two games, and I think they had way too much effect on our game. But I am very proud of how this team fought today. But again, you talk about the being in it to the last, few minutes. That's where our growth needs to come in, of being able to get that last stop, go down, attack them down by 2, make those last layups. That's the room for growth that we need. That's the growth that a championship team needs. So a lot of self-reflecting in this offseason is going to be good for, us and us as an organization.
Speaking of that self-reflection, I mean, you were phenomenal tonight,
Thank you.
phenomenal all season. You talked about how much you've grown as a leader, but I was just wondering how your game has grown this year and what you're taking from it into next year.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a player that I never really talk about myself. I always bring it back to the team because, without we, there's no me. And we go as I go. But as I sit back and self-reflect, one of the toughest years for me, not only physically playing the minutes that I did, shouldering a lot of the leadership role, mentally and emotionally. This was a really, really tough season for me, but proud of myself for being consistent, being poised, and damn it, I've established myself as one of the best point guards in this league. And I'm proud of myself for that. You don't see any other point guards in this league facilitating their teams, guarding the other team's best offensive player, whether it's a guard, whether it's a post, being able to switch, being able to facilitate, and being able to score when opportunities are given to them. And I feel like in big moments, I've stepped up for our organization and for this team. And so I'm just really proud of myself too, especially after taking last season off. And, I didn't start great, but I left everything out there today. So I'm proud of that effort.
And I mean, we've talked a little bit about this throughout the season. What was the effect of, having Alicia and Elena when she wasn't playing on the bench? Tina just mentioned how much Ariel has been leaning on Alicia. Can you just talk about what they've done for this team this year?
Yeah, just being leaders off the court, especially during games when, we might not necessarily see what's going on the floor. It's good to have those high IQs and those vets who have been in these situations, who have won championships, be able to come in and utilize their voices, utilize their minds. So they've been great for our bench. It's going to be even better when they get on the floor, though.
Yeah.
Hey.
Couple quickies. What do you think was the biggest challenge of going through the changed lineups throughout the season? As far as I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. It feels like you guys never got a chance to really kind of get settled with any kind of consistent lineup, consistent rotation, any of that kind of stuff. So
No.
I'm just curious, what the biggest challenge was that going from day to day with such a fluctuating lineup and just who's available.
There's days that we literally come in and be like, who's available to practice today? Who's available for the game today? There's a game where against Indiana or Atlanta, I was playing the 4 and the 5. It has been just literally adversity left and right. So you try to adjust, you try to stay consistent, you try to stay poised, try to bring out the best of people. You're trying to learn people's strengths and weaknesses. But when you're constantly shifting and changing and new faces, new people, it is really hard to find that fluidity and that flow within itself. Because it's almost like speed dating. You're trying to figure out like, okay, who are you? What are you about? And how do we mesh together? How do we flow together? But I am proud of this team for you know, trying to figure it out all season long. Obviously the season didn't go as we intended, but we have a really phenomenal group of women in that locker room. And so I'm blessed to be a part of it.
It doesn't help in the midst of it, and it doesn't help now, but is there something that you guys can take from that adversity moving forward that, we talked a lot about growth, you've talked a lot about growth moving forward. Is there anything you take from that that helps the growing process?
Yeah, talking to Tyler earlier, there's been Chadwick Boseman, when he spoke at Howard's commencement speech, he talked about your purpose, and the adversity and the challenges along the way are only and so I think all this adversity, weathering the storm this season, has made us better for our purpose, whether that's on the court or off the court. It's challenged us as people, it's challenged us as leaders, and we're going to be better people and players because of it. But going into next season, if this season can't, break us down and knock us out, I mean, obviously we didn't make playoffs, but we stayed the course and we're still standing here today, despite all that happened during the season. So I think if anything, it just shows us, life's going to throw shit at you, but you continue to march on, you dust yourself off, and we're strong enough to do that. Appreciate you.
Any other in-person questions?
Mhm.
One more.
Hey, Josh.
Hey.
You kind of touched on it earlier, just kind of talk about taking off last year and then trying to, get your rhythm back. I'm just talking about your end and just kind of trying to navigate through everything and just talk about, where you started and then just kind of bring yourself to where you are at the end of the season here.
Yeah, it was hard for me first half of the season to kind of pick my spots of where to be aggressive and where to facilitate. Obviously, with new faces coming in and out, it's my job to facilitate and put my teammates in successful situations. So that was challenging in itself. Obviously, battling through my own kind of stint of injuries, being out for about 2 weeks, that was really hard in itself, and then trying to get back into things. But I think once Olympic break happened, it was a blessing because I could heal up. I could put in those deposits with my teammates because we were here during training camp for about so I could really figure out, okay, I'm going to develop these relationships off the court. So when it comes time on the court, I can make those withdrawals when I need them. And also just getting back to my regimen of getting in the gym every single day, working on my shot. Shout out to Safu because he really did help me fix my shot in the second half of the season. So I was feeling really confident. And then just, picking my opportunities of when to score, when to facilitate, when to lead. And just, my goal was to get defensive first team as well, if not defensive player of the year. So that was good for focusing me on the second half of the season as well.
And then a little bit of good news. Can you just touch on your the mural dedication that you had recently?
Super surreal for me. That stuff that you dream about as a kid. When I stepped into this realm of activism, I was just doing things because I care about people, I care about my community. And sometimes within this activism, you don't know if you're having the impact that you set out, that you intended to have on your community. So that mural in the thankless job was solidifying to me that I am having the impact that I set out to have. And it almost fuels that fire for me to do more because I am being seen, I am being heard, and I am helping this community. So, we wanted to go into the playoffs. Obviously we didn't, but it gives me a chance to really dive back into my activism now as well. Thank you.
Back to you, Kara.
Jen?
Hey, Tosh.
Hey, Jen.
You talked about this a little bit in terms of kind of the whole season, but specifically today, the game's going out of the wire. You're having a good scoring game, also facilitating. How do you balance, wanting to will your team into the playoffs with not doing too much in any one direction?
Yeah, I think towards the end of the game, I was able to get to the basket. I was able to probe and set my teammates up. So definitely in the last 6 minutes, talking to myself, like, we go as you go. So I got to go. And I'm again, I feel like I've established myself as one of the best point guards in this league. You have to respect me coming off of ball screens. So if they show, I pass. I find open players because I can see the court. If they don't, then I'm going to the basket and I'm trying to get a foul. So I didn't feel much pressure. It's just, that's my job. My job is to facilitate, engage too. And if they don't, I go score.
And obviously, you guys have made the playoffs for several years now. Does this moment feel similar to that 2016 season when you missed the playoffs, or is this a different kind of emotion that you're feeling today?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it? It skipped out at like the very end.
Yeah, no worries. I was just curious, however you're feeling today, how that compares to that 2016 season, the last time you guys missed the playoffs.
Yeah, this sucks. This actually sucks a lot worse than that. I think in 2017, we were the youngest team in the W. We were only losing games by 3 to 5 points all season long. And it was just like we couldn't get over the hump. We were still missing pieces to the puzzle. And this year, yes, we're missing pieces to the puzzle, but I think what makes this so much harder is we had so much adversity and we were still in this position to get into the playoffs and we didn't. So it's a heartbreak. It really, really is. It sucks, but go. You got to count your blessings at the end of the day. We got through a season with only Coach T kind of testing positive for COVID. We're all safe. We're all healthy for the most part. Our families are safe and healthy. So you bring the perspective back a little bit. Yes, we're competitors. Yes, this is our job. No one wanted to get into playoffs more than me. I hate losing, but you count your blessings at the end of the day and you keep trucking along.
Thanks, Tosh, and thanks for your time all season.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate you as always.
We only have time for one more question, so Rafiq, this will be the last question.
Hey, Natasha, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Rafiq?
Doing all right. Although you couldn't really make the playoffs, it was nice to see you back on the court.
Mm-hmm.
What do you plan to do during the offseason to continue working on your offensive defensive game towards having your team have a much better season than the way you finished the last 2 games?
Back into the lab we go, whether it's with my trainer, James Clark back in Philly. I've really, with playing at St. Joe's, I made really dope connections with the other school that's in our area, Villa No Fun. So having Kyle Lowry in my corner throughout the season was huge for me. Just picking his mind as a point guard, as one of the best point guards in the NBA. So I'll try to go out there while he's in Miami and just get in the gym with him and work and try to just progress my game. But my goal is to come back better for this team, for this organization, and for myself too. I mean it when I say I've established myself as one of the best point guards in this league, but I'm going to make y'all talk about it. I for sure am going to make y'all talk about it. So there's beauty in the process.
How great of a job did Eric did as far as taking over for Mike T-Bolt during these last 2 games?
Eric did a phenomenal job. These last 2 games were in our control. I think I said it after the New York game when people were asking if, was because of Coach T's absence. Eric did a phenomenal job. And there was a lot of things within these last 2 games that we didn't come through on. So Eric did a phenomenal job in preparing us for these 2 games. I'm proud of him for stepping up to the plate during a really, really hard push. Unfortunately, we just didn't get the job done. But y'all shouldn't look at Eric as like he wasn't ready, because he was. He did a phenomenal job of just leading us, keeping us calm during these last 2 games. And like I said, unfortunately, we couldn't get it done for him.
Appreciate your insight and have a good off season.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hopefully, if the Zooms don't come to an end, I look forward to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. If we wear our mask and we get vaccinated, we might get there.
Thank you,
Lord
Tosh.
Jesus.
Appreciate your time.
Appreciate